start for the future.
Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff, Alison McConnell and Tam McManus with me here in the studio to look back over the weekend's Scottish Premiership and the lower leagues, as well as Dundee were crowned champions on back to the Premiership. So lots to discuss. We'll have a wee look at the English Premier League as well as look ahead to the playoffs this week in Scottish football. So you can give us your view, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell and you'll get all the notifications, not only on our YouTube channel, but if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you'll get all the breaking football news as well. So, quiz question to get us going. With Alfredo Morelos almost certainly leaving Ibrox in the summer, how many goals has he scored for Rangers in total? Do you want to have a go, Ruffy?
Yeah. I'll go 82.
Alison?
It's about 158 or so.
158.
Wow. Is it?
Tom?
I don't know.
That seems quite a lot. I'll go for 91.
91. Okay, you can give us your guess on it.
Counting bounce games and reserve games?
Yeah. You can give us, yeah. You can give us your thought. Oh, you may be right. You may have to give us lots. You can give us your view on that as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And let's talk about, champions, because Celtic are indeed the champions after winning the title, securing it with the 3 points and a 2-0 win against Hearts.
Yeah, I think they just strolled through the game, they never got to any level at all. They just went out and won the game as they usually do. And the celebrations there for everybody to see. If you're a footballer and you start the season and you want to be a winner at the end of the season, if you are a winner, it's fantastic. And you can see the celebrations, even the new players to Celtic really bought into, what it means to win a trophy.
Yeah, this is what it means to manager and players.
Ange Postecoglou and his Celtic side wrapped up the Premiership title for the second year running in front of 1,200 travelling Celtic fans in a 2-0 win at Tynecastle yesterday. They then made the journey back to Glasgow, where thousands of supporters were waiting at Celtic Park to celebrate. The Hoops have recorded 31 wins out of a possible 34 games so far, having scored 105 goals and have 4 games left to break the club record of 116. 4 victories in the remaining fixtures will see them surpass the record points total of 106, which came under Brendan Rodgers. The Celtic boss came to the city in June 2021. After a bumpy start, the Australian's methods were criticised, but now on the cusp of winning his 5th piece of silverware as the man in charge, Postecoglou thanked his players for taking on the challenge he set for them to be bigger, better and stronger than before.
It makes me immensely proud that the group embraced that, because again, it would have been very easy after winning it last year and me throwing some words out there that we're going to be, stronger and better and bigger and all those kind of things. But I purposely did that to throw out a challenge to the lads that, we've got to be a better team. I thought we needed to be a better team this year if we were going to defend our title, because, particularly knowing that we were going to be in Champions League, because, you shouldn't underestimate the physical, the mental toll that playing Champions League football takes on you.
Celtic captain Callum McGregor collected his 8th league title yesterday and says that he, along with the other experienced players, encourage his younger teammates to enjoy these moments while they can.
I think that's probably the collective objective. When you start the season, that's you're kind of playing the games and you're winning the games until you get a sort of moment where you've crossed the line, and of course it's always in the back of your head, every single week you don't want to drop points, you don't want to give anybody any encouragement to chase you, and when you get it over the line, then that's the moment everybody's been working for since day one in pre-season.
As fans soaked up the atmosphere at Celtic Park in their thousands yesterday, it begs the question, will they be celebrating the treble come June 3rd?
Yeah, that's the last piece of domestic silverware on offer, and it's Celtic against Inverness Caledonian Thistle. But to the match itself, should Hearts feel slightly hard done by with the red card?
Yeah, I thought it was harsh. I thought it was harsh at first viewing. I thought a yellow card was probably the right decision. Obviously, once he goes to have a look at it in VAR, I think we all knew it was coming. It was going to be changed to a red card. I think he's caught wrong side. He just clips his heels. I think he's got a bit to do in terms of getting a clear goal scoring opportunity. So I thought it was harsh. I thought Hearts played really well the first half. I thought they were the better team. I thought Celtic struggled to come out the blocks. Hearts pressed them high up the pitch, and plenty of corners, plenty of attempts at goal, and Celtic really struggling. But the red card ruined the game. I think the red card ruined the game. Hearts came out second half, sat back, tried to play for a 0-0, get a point, and Celtic just do what they do and win the game in the second half. But I thought it was a harsh red card.
Yeah, here's Hearts interim boss Stephen Naismith.
I don't agree with it. That's my opinion. I think there's still a bit of work to be done by Ada as he is going into the box. He's travelling at speed, the ball's moving, and we've got some recovering players. I think the referee made the right call. So that's really disappointing, because up until that moment in the game we had the best chances. The game was mainly played in the Celtic half, and we had a real belief that we could get something from the game.
Do you agree with him, Ruffy?
I agree with every word he's just said there, but so what does Willie Collum see that he never saw? No, we all saw it, you know. So I agree that the referee made the decision. Why are we asking VAR? Let him stick with that decision, yellow card, and let's move on. It'd be interesting. I know we're all sitting here when Andy Walker said, "Oh, I can hear, what they're saying." I'd love to know what the dialogue was between the referee and the guy up in the VAR. So what did he say that the referee never saw? Well, the only conclusion you can come to is he thought it was a goal scoring opportunity, and he didn't.
Yeah, he thought that it would be a shot from Maeda. He would have got a shot away, and he was denied that opportunity. The point here, Ali, is, and we've been arguing about it non-stop since this VAR came into operation, is quite simply, the VAR then speaks to the referee and says, have a look at this. We think he might have been denied a goal-scoring opportunity. Ultimately, the referee still get the final call. The referee can look at it and say, okay, I've listened to what you've got to say, it's my call.
Yeah, and I think too, VAR was introduced to highlight clear and obvious errors. I'm not sure that it was a clear and obvious error. I think if the referee judged it to be a foul, I'm not sure that anyone would have complained about it during the game. There was no appeal for the sanction to be higher. I think obviously it comes down to so many things in terms of VAR that we've seen this season. It's a subjective decision. There's an interpretation that he's the last man. But if you look at it quite closely, I think Stephen Naismith's right, that there are players that are recovering that you think would make up ground. I thought it was harsh. I thought it was harsh and Hearts. I thought they'd played very well up until that point. I thought they were the better team in the first half, and I think any team where that decision is given against them would have a sense of grievance. Yeah,
they're chasing records right, left and centre here, Tam, on course to beat the record of 116 goals scored in a season. They're on 105, so they're chasing that down, and of course if they get all 4 wins in the remaining games, it's 107 points, which would beat Brendan Rodgers' record. So there's all sorts of incentives rather than them now securing the title and just going back down through the gears.
No, I think that Celtic will keep pushing for every record that they can get. I think obviously the big game now is the cup final, which most of us would probably think Celtic will win comfortably, but they want to break records, and they want to break Brendan Rodgers' record, and I don't think you'll see, the manager resting players and playing some younger players. I think you'll keep the foot to the floor and try and get those goals and that points tally, and he's breaking records all the time at Celtic at the minute, Ange Postecoglou, and I don't think he's going to stop. I think he's wanting to try and break every record he possibly can before he leaves.
Okay, and of course all through this year we've had non-stop speculation about him leaving, but I think the general feeling in this camp anyway is that he'll stay and try and get Celtic beyond that Champions League group stage. What do you think? How many players do you think he's going to be looking at in the summer to bring in, and who do you think is going out the way? Of course, for Stephen Naismith, he's got a big job in his hands. Let's not forget, Alison, Hearts want to try and finish 4th. I think 3rd might be beyond them, but 4th is certainly holding off Hibs is the key concern.
Absolutely, and I think there'll be some disappointment still at the way that 3rd has just slipped through their grasp and slipped through their fingers when you consider Aberdeen's run of form at the turn of the year before they parted company with Jim Goodwin. I think anything, I think even 4th place will still feel like a scant consolation in some ways, and I think 5th is just unthinkable.
Yeah, okay, we were wondering what type of crowd would turn up, Ruffy, at Ibrox for Rangers against Aberdeen. Okay, there were a few empty seats here and there. It's still a good crowd to see a game that, more often than not is always hotly contested. So, what impressed you?
Again, like the first game up at Aberdeen, Rangers had chances, and when I listen to Michael Beale giving his analysis after the game, he only sees it in blue glasses. He doesn't see the opposition.
Well,
he always comes in.
Tell me a manager that does, Ruffy?
No, but he comes in afterwards and goes, we had this chance here and we had that chance there and we had that chance there. And there's nothing about Aberdeen's chances. Aberdeen, the boy McCrory had 3 or 4 super saves to keep Rangers in the game. Duke should have put them 1-0 up when he tried to chip it over the top of them. So I think he's just trying to keep everybody on board. I think he's just trying to keep the season going to the end of the season and keeping all the supporters on board, because that's what his interviews are saying to me.
Well, if you want to have a wee listen, it doesn't say that to me, because this is an assessment of Alfredo Morelos coming on.
Well, I think you saw a difference when Alfredo come on in terms of energy, not a positive difference as well. So I think, we'll need a focal point to the team for sure. Antonio's not fit at the moment, and Alfredo's obviously going to be moving on. So I thought Fashion and Rabbi gave us a different type of front line today.
Now, I don't know about you, but Ali, if I go into a press conference and the Rangers manager throws that grenade, I'm thinking, he didn't hold back there. I mean, that's one of those ones where we all sit together and look at each other and go, did he just say that? Yeah,
I think you've just seen the extent of someone's frustration with a player there. I think you've just seen a glimpse of what's been behind the scenes maybe for a few months. I don't think there's any question that Alfredo Morelos has looked unfit. He's looked out of shape. He's looked heavy for a professional footballer, and I think it is such a damning indictment of how he's seen by his manager.
Yeah, Tam, have you ever heard anything like that? I mean, there are a number of moments that I can recall in press conferences, because I've been to thousands of them, where you've actually sat there and thought, oh, thank you God for letting me be there, because managers eventually throw grenades. But I think Michael Beale is probably getting to the point now where he's saying, well, I know who's staying with me, and the others, when I wanted them to step up to the plate from November onwards, they haven't done it.
There's a couple of things from that interview with Michael Beale. Firstly, I think he's just speaking candidly and honestly, but I think the Rangers supporters have seen that all season. He's not been at it. Alison just touched on it there. Doesn't look fit. Doesn't look sharp. Doesn't look hungry. So I totally agree with him there. But why is he playing him, Peter?
I'm just going to say that as
Peter,
well.
why is he putting him on? He's put him on the pitch. Has he not got a young player? Is there not a boy in the B team or someone that's hungry and maybe he's got a future? Why is he playing Morelos? He's not going to be there, Peter.
I'll tell you why.
I don't agree with Michael Beale there.
They only won 1-0.
I know they did, but why is it? He obviously doesn't rate him. He's not going to be there. He slaughtered him after the game. Why is he putting him on?
Well, he doesn't want to have a situation, and we mentioned this prior to the game kicking off. He doesn't want to have a situation where there's even more criticism coming before the end of the season. He's got to get Rangers just winning games, whether that's, he's learnt his lesson, looked at Morelos and went, well, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, but he might as well get him on, see if he can do something to finish his career on somewhat of a moderate high, but there's nothing there from him. So he's learnt his lesson, but he's got to win against Aberdeen. You can't just say, here's a young boy in and then Aberdeen get an equaliser, suddenly Aberdeen get a winner. Yeah,
I take your point, but I see both sides of that argument. I think when you know he's so untrustworthy and he's lost your respect, clearly, then I think sometimes maybe it is an idea to go and say, is there someone that can come in? You've maybe got reserves on the bench. I think he's hindered by the injury problems that he's got too. In terms of his choices for who starts up front, but I would agree with you. I think he can't afford for the season just to fizzle out. I think he needs to keep winning games. You don't want to end the season with a really embarrassing gap. You lose another couple of games and all of a sudden you're looking at this massive chasm at the top of the table. I don't think he can afford for that to happen. However, I think there would be benefit in bringing in young players. See what they've got, see if they can handle everything that goes, playing with the first team, playing in front of Ibrox, playing in front of a crowd, see if they can come in and make a contribution, because it's quite clear that he has no trust or faith in Morelos.
I like Cantwell. I thought he had a 2 or 3, he could have had a hat-trick in the game. I think he's got something to offer definitely next season.
Yeah, when he gets up against opposition, that he's allowed to be in that sort of advanced role, run about the 18-yard box, he certainly has an eye for the goal. He had 2 or 3 shots and it was a great strike for his goal, so he's been a plus since he came. He just needs to step up the level when they play against better sides.
Yeah, I think he'll come out even better, Tam, on a better side.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's good. I think that he's creative. I think Rangers have missed that this season. A kind of number 10 role, sitting. You can see even the one for Sakala that he played through, and Sakala was just offside. Great pass. Not many players can see that pass. He split the Aberdeen defence wide open. So I like him. He's got a wee bit about him as well. That we'll touch on the push on Scales. I don't think that was a red card, but you obviously get booked for that. He didn't like him getting blocked, so he's got a wee bit about him as well. A wee bit of spirit and a wee bit of dig about him as well. So no, I think you'll see the best of him next season. And you're right. Once Rangers get better options in the forward areas, people making better runs rather than Morelos or Sakala. If Rangers can get better quality, then you'll see him even better with better players around the building.
Okay, let's cut to the chase. Duke, penalty or no penalty?
Oh, it's a Stonewall penalty. It's a Stonewall penalty, Peter. I can't believe they've not looked at that again. He's caught wrong side. It was at Goldson, and Goldson's just hauled him down. I've actually watched it today again. I paused it right on where the contact was made and where it finished, and he's in the box. It's a clear. If the referee played advantage, there was no advantage for Aberdeen in that situation. I think you've got to call it back and you've got to give a penalty to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen can find themselves very, very hard done by that decision. I thought it was a Stonewall penalty kick.
Yeah, I think Barry Robson was wondering if VAR had a day off.
Where was VAR? Did them to see it? No, where was it? I don't know. Was it in the building today? Yeah. I'm being serious. Was it? Aye. I think it was at side. Okay, but was it a free kick? Okay. So where was VAR?
I don't think VAR can...
Oh, couldn't off. Look, what's the point of us speaking? Because none of us know, do we? No, we don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. So...
You speak to referee at all?
No, not allowed to do that either, are we? No, I'm being serious. We're not having a conversation here. And does any of us know?
Yeah, he was an angry man with it. Penalty?
Yes. For me, I don't think there was any ambiguity about it at all. I thought it was a penalty, and I think you can see why he's aggrieved that they never pulled it back to look at it. And I think to play advantage in that situation was absurd.
Yeah, for me as well. I would go a step further, because if we're saying it's a penalty, then it's an ordering off, because it was a goal scoring opportunity if he'd went by him. If he went in the box, comparing the angle that we're talking to about the other ones that have been sent off, that one was nearer a goal scoring opportunity.
It's an alarming statistic, Tam, when you can go through an entire season and there's no penalty awarded against one particular side. It is. I mean, I know we all have a laugh about certain things, but I'll tell you one thing. Not many fans are laughing about it.
No, and I think that's an incredible statistic for a team with VAR. We've seen the amount of penalties that was given against teams this season. All the other clubs with handballs, and for Rangers not to have a penalty given against them is staggering. And if you're not going to give a penalty for that one at the weekend, then I don't think you're ever going to give a penalty against Rangers, because for me that was an absolute Stonewall penalty, and it was incredible that they never even had a look at it. It's mental.
Can I make a suggestion here? I'm just throwing it up there, and maybe we could get to the bottom of why, because there is undoubtedly situations where there should have been a penalty awarded in a few games, and people are saying, well, wait a minute, how can you get through an entire season without having a penalty awarded against you? Could I suggest that maybe we're in a situation where Kevin Clancy's had death threats? Could I suggest to you that maybe the referees are scared to award penalties in some situations because of the fear of the repercussions of it? Is that a possible suggestion on why some referees just cannot make that call?
Not consciously, I don't think. I think maybe subconsciously you're swayed by a very vocal crowd. I don't think any referee, if you to speak to them, I don't think would admit to being intimidated and not wanting to give one. But I do wonder on a personal level whether some people are. I do think it's an incredibly curious anomaly, and it stretches back longer than a season. Obviously there was a cup one, Partick Thistle had a penalty in the cup game just before Ian McCall was sacked. But I think in terms of league games it stretches to, is it maybe 41 games or so? I think it goes back further than one campaign, and I think it is curious. It would stand out not just I think in Scotland but across Britain if you to say who's not conceded a penalty in home soil. I don't know. I think there's an element of incompetency. I think we've spoken about the quality of refereeing repeatedly this season and decisions that have been made. But I think when you look at VAR and the cheapness with which some penalties have been given in other games, I think it does raise a question mark as to how you can go through games and somehow escape sanction. And I think decisions like Saturday's, when it seems fairly clear and obvious that it's not looked at, then you have to consider, is it because of the weight of the crowd, the volume of the crowd, that influences a decision, that maybe you're not having a vocal visiting support shouting for the decision?
Yeah, I'm throwing that out as a serious consideration, Ruffy, because there are in society a group of people, I can't quantify it, but a baying mob of people who quite gleefully think it's okay to send threatening messages to a referee's family, and there's a baying mob who give out so much abuse, to certain individuals if it doesn't go their way, and I'm not saying one club or the other. I'm saying there are people in society who think it's okay to act that way, and I just wonder if referees are feeling the real strain of it all. It must be something that's preying on their mind.
Yeah, but I'm a wee bit early. I think they're professional enough to put that to the back of their mind. They might think it's there, consciously there, but I don't think they make decisions. If I get a penalty here, my family's going to be in trouble here. I don't think they consciously think that way during the 90 minutes of a game. They've got to make decisions. I think Barry Robson's right. Why is VAR not saying have a look at that? The VAR said that the Hearts Celtic game, let's have a look at that, and the boy gets sent off, so why not look at that? I think that's a good point he's got, that obviously we like the referees to make the decision, but VAR should have had a look at that.
Yeah, and it was Goldson again. The one against Celtic with the handball, and then that one, so he's had a handball and then he's just rugby tackled Duke. So it might be another 51 plus games if they're not getting penalties for those two.
It's an interesting one. I certainly think that a lot of managers will be chatting to the VAR and of course the referees who are on the park when they get to the summer and assess it all. I mean, I know a lot of people want it binned, but that's just not going to happen, Ali. This is here, and I think it's going to take a lot of soul searching and talking and discussion over the summer, where I think there is an absolute necessity to have a summit where managers come together with the referees and whoever in that SPFL wants to get around a table and say, listen, this is where we need to improve this so that we don't get this situation. Let's not forget the English Premier League went through a similar process, but I think ours is probably being exacerbated by the lunacy that goes on in our country.
Yeah, first things first, there's no way that they're getting rid of it. It's here to stay. It's just part of the game now, and there's no question that there would be a decision made to bin it. So I think what you have to do is come round and make decisions on how to improve it. But again, I think so much of it comes down to interpretation and subjectivity in terms of the interpretation of who is the VAR operator on the game and how they are interpreting a decision. And I think too often it seems to be inconsistent, and I think you've seen those inconsistencies since November when it was first introduced.
And again, as we get towards the end of the season, I wonder if there is a problem overall, for take Rangers out of the equation and that incident at the weekend. I wonder if there's a problem overall which needs to be addressed, which is quite simply, yes, we have VAR, but it's not going to enhance and eliminate a greater percentage of mistakes if we don't have good enough referees who know what they're doing with it.
Yes, it's just hit the nail on the head. It's pointless having VAR if the referees are not up to scratch. You can have the best equipment, the best camera angles, the best technology you want, but if the people in charge of it are incompetent, then there's no point in it. I was all for VAR. I think most people were. I think it was getting annoying. It was getting annoying, some big decisions that were going against teams and managers. And I think a lot of fans wanted it, but now it's here. be careful what you wish for. A lot of people think, well, we don't like it now, it's taking the enjoyment out of the game, and they're still not getting big calls, right? So I think first and foremost, you've got to get better referees and better officials, more competent officials, and then I think the VAR will get better on the back of that.
Yeah. You've got to get faster. I think too often it's very slow.
Yeah.
In games, it's really slowing it down. But it's curious. I think if you're going to make this investment in technology, I think it makes sense to have an investment in referees too. And I think we've spoken about this before, but I think full-time referees is the only way to go.
Yeah. The other, of the three things that I would like to see implemented in the game, we've all talked about it, Ruffy. A vocal explanation on the day for the fans to hear why there's a decision that's been made, similar to rugby, where the broadcasters can put it out as the referee explains why they've come to this decision, is the first one. The second one, over and above that, obviously I think there needs to be a greater dialogue and to make it quicker. I think they've got to come to decisions allowing the referee, even when he's being advised by VAR, I think the referee's got to come to a decision quicker. And the third one, which I've been banging on about for about easily a decade, if not more, not only with VAR, Ruffy, but the way the game's going, stop the clock, and you stop people cheating. The amount of times now, and we highlighted it with the research from Opta 2 weeks ago, where one match I think had something like 40 odd minutes of football and the rest of it was all cheating and time wasting, you name it. And I don't think we get a clear 90 minutes for fans to enjoy a game, because if it's not somebody rolling about, they're cheating, we're waiting on the VAR, you don't know how long it's taking, the clock's ticking away, and even then sometimes we've been lucky enough where you get the 7 or 8 or 9 minutes, but it would stop that right away.
Yeah, it would. There are certain times when you should stop it. There are players out there who do feign injuries, there's no doubt about that. I have to say, at the end of the game, I don't mind it. If I'm winning a game at 1-0, I want to waste as much time as possible. That's the way you are. You want to see the game out, you want to win the game, you want to get everything that goes with it. But I don't like the cheating side of it, people who are diving about and they've not even been touched. The rule that I would change would be the Andy Walker one. I don't see any reason why Andy Walker shouldn't tell everybody what they're saying to each other up in the VAR.
Yeah, well, I know.
I think
there's a double debate there, Ruffy.
Well, I think they could, if they're listening to what they're saying. I don't mean don't get a decision here. You don't. You'll cause a riot. Andy Walker is hearing why the Sky VAR guy is telling them that Hearts boy has to be sent off.
Yeah.
No, I think we should be in that as well.
Yeah, we are in that part. The Andy Walker one's just slightly different on 2 counts. One
I
is,
know there's rules.
One is that broadcast and SFA, VAR, basically kind of a pushing the boat out to give them a greater insight from a broadcasting perspective. The debate is whether that trust was broken by revealing it. There's no doubt about Andy's credibility in saying it. I agree with you 100%, and I think it's something that we should all have a listen to. Incidentally, and we always mention this as well, the VAR we're talking about is overall, I know there's some numpties on here, as there always is, talking about it from a point of view of Rangers. We're discussing every club here. Lots of them have had VAR decisions which have infuriated them. The Aberdeen manager's infuriated. The Hibs manager doesn't know what happens in it. He's come out and caned them, so it's...
It's not just Rangers, it's everyone. So all the clubs, and everyone's had a grievance this season. They always say, it'll even himself out, and it doesn't even himself out. So no, I think that every manager at one point this season has had a major problem with VAR.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Hibs 2, St Mirren 1. Your boys flying. It's a great finish to the season for him. Remember, you were just close to calling for his head as well. but you could actually. You could.
Manager of the year,
can you imagine getting to Tynecastle and all you have to do is beat Hearts at Tynecastle to get into 4th place?
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend for Hibs. Fantastic weekend for the supporters. To beat St Mirren. Hearts losing, Aberdeen losing, all of a sudden you're back in there. Obviously you've still to play Celtic and Rangers, but good performance. First half I thought Hibs dominated the game. 2 good goals. St Mirren get the goal back. Kevin Nisbet missed a sitter for 3-0, which would have killed the game off, but I think the only thing that mattered was Hibs winning the game, and they were gifted one early doors with poor defending from St Mirren, but Johan took it well. And he's somebody that I think that Hibs will be looking to keep next season. I don't know what the fee is from St Gallen, but I think if it's manageable, I think the Hibs would try and keep him. I think he's something different from what they've got. He's you know, one week he's very, very good, the next week he's not so good. I think that's a typical kind of forward, wide player, and but he's starting to score goals over the last couple of months, so I think that Hibs will be looking to keep him.
Yeah, this is what Lee Johnson makes of him.
And that's what Ellie's got to do. He can frustrate the life out of us at times, you know. Sure, even you guys that are, you know, impartial at times, but you know, he drives you up the wall. But he's also got that like real threat about him, and he pegs the team back, and he can run all day. And quite unique attributes actually in a player that he's got. So we just need to keep developing. He's still young, and he can still develop those other areas of his game.
I'm interested to see, Ruffy, what Hibs do next season, because they've got, you know, some players that they'd obviously want to keep. Big decision on McGeady if he's going to play another season, and then recruitment.
Yeah, well, they've got 2 new guys in there, you know, and we heard the Rangers manager saying I've got a budget. I'm sure Hibs will have a budget as well, and the supporters, like the Rangers supporters, will be waiting to see what kind of players are coming in, what kind of quality's coming in. But Hibs will be like everybody else, they'll have to shell people out the door to match up the wages.
Want to see a stronger Hibs, a stronger Hearts, a stronger Aberdeen than what we're seeing at the moment. There's inconsistencies during the season, which, because of the nature of Scottish football and British football, you know, you go on a run of 3 or 4 games and you're thinking, I might get the sack here.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we want a stronger league overall. I think the quality of the league has been poor this season. I think that's reflected by the likes of St Johnstone, who went in that run of form, was it 7 games without a win, but they're effectively safe now. I think that so much of that has come down to the poorness in terms of the quality of the league that we've seen, and the inconsistency of so many teams, obviously out with Celtic and Rangers at the top. I think it's been weak this term. I think you would like to see the standard come up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one man who deserves a bit of praise is the St Mirren boss, Stephen Robson. Okay, it didn't go according to plan against Hibs, but he still thinks there's Europe up for grabs.
There's many teams come to Easter Road and pin them in as much as we've done. And as I say, we've got very few options on the bench to change it in attacking areas, but to a man, it's hard, difficult to ask for any more in that second half, and the response I got from him, and so, you know, it gives us hope that, you know, we've still got a chance for Europe.
Yeah, he's a good manager. I like him, Ruffy.
Yeah, he's done particularly well, and he's been honest enough to tell us all about his budget and players he couldn't get and players he had to let go. So it's been a tough season for him, but for where they've ended up in the top 6 is incredible, and I think the supporters have bought into that as well.
Okay, Tam, if we're going to talk about my favourite goal of the weekend, it was scored at Fir Park. It was a moment. It was a moment of sheer genius, wasn't it? I mean, he brought it down beautifully and he finished it with applause.
It was. Listen, see if Messi scored that goal or Cristiano Ronaldo, you'd be playing that for months. It was an outstanding bit of skill. Honestly, that's such a hard thing to do. You know, Liam Kelly's claiming the assist. It's a big thump up the park, and he's got 2 defenders in it. If you watch it, he takes 2 touches and then the ball's in the net. His first touch, he takes the 2 defenders out. Then his next touch sets him up, and then he just got stroke it by the goalkeeper. 3 moments, 3 touches of pure class, and he's playing out his skin at the minute. He's getting linked to big clubs, you know. And I know you said, I think it was Monday, you didn't think he was good enough for Rangers. I think he is good enough for Rangers, Peter. I think he is good enough for Rangers. I think he's
on that goal.
No, just on this season. I think when you look at a guy like that, you know, playing in that Motherwell team, he would score a barrel load for Rangers. He would score a barrel load for Rangers. And I'm not saying play every week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not going to play every week. He's not your number 9, but for a guy, an experienced striker, to bring him in and have him in the squad, you know, he would get you 20-25 goals a season easily at Rangers. So whether he's got eyes, you know, come back to England or maybe abroad somewhere, but Celtic, I think, is different. I think for Rangers, they need somebody that's going to guarantee themselves 20-25 goals, and I think he would guarantee Rangers 20-25 goals, and that's a big amount.
Yeah, even the Motherwell manager Stuart Kettlewell was salivating about the goal.
I think it's a moment of brilliance, isn't it? The goal, second goal's excellent. I think the first goal's really good as well in a number of ways, but you know, the ball from Liam Kelly, the touch from Kevin, it's excellent. He had a moment in the first half, didn't he, as well, where he sort of chops inside with some sort of Cruyff with the ball coming down with snow in it, which was pretty amazing as well, and he get fouled. But yeah, we know he's capable. I think all you guys know he's capable as well.
Oh, he's throwing in Cruyff terms and everything. It's not bad, Ali, is it?
Bears camp about it. Yeah. But yeah, it was outstanding. I think we want to see more of it, but whether or not he's still in the league next time, this time next season, I think, is a big doubt. I think he will move on. I'm not sure if Rangers would want to go for a player of his age. I take your point. I think he would score goals. I think, but I just wonder if the age would maybe put people off in terms of investing in a player and then maybe not getting much back. I don't know if they'd just be.
I don't think he's paying an awful lot of money for him. Is he only got a contract? Has he got a year left?
I think he's got a year left. So they'll have make it something for him.
Yeah, I think he's been excellent this season. I think at times there's been an inconsistency about him. Maybe last year, I think his performances this season and his goals. I think if you're scoring more than 20 goals out with Celtic or Rangers, I think people are always going to take notice.
Yeah, I wonder if he's actually out of contract in the summer. I seem to remember something.
Yeah,
I think he might be out of contract. Yeah. So
you get him for nothing.
Well, you get
Rangers don't take him for nothing.
Yeah,
I would if I was Michael Beale.
Yeah, you turn into Rangers agent?
No, I'm just saying. If I'm Michael Beale, I'm looking at a guy that scored 25 goals for Motherwell. I'm thinking, good player, experienced striker. I'd take him for nothing.
I'll tell you, depending on levels, Ruffy, if you're looking at Aberdeen, Hearts, Hibs,
they would be in for him as well. I think
different type of player.
Yeah, it depends what ambitions he's got. I think.
I'll tell you where his ambition is, Ruffy. As much money as possible. And by the way, if Wrexham are paying it, he's down to Wrexham.
But I mean, we're talking about would he go to a team in Scotland? And you're right. If he went to Aberdeen, Hibs, or Hearts, he would score goals. Lawrence Shankland's proved that. If you're in a decent striker and you get chances, you'll put it in the back of the net. The only thing I would disagree with you, it wasn't the goal of the weekend.
Yeah.
The goal of the weekend was the boy Fox for Queen's Park.
Yeah, it was a good goal, but it was what I would call, it's a Hail Mary, isn't it?
I think Van Veen's is better.
Van Veen's, I'd take it all day long.
More difficult. It's more difficult to touch, and we can all hit one for 30 yards. I done it at Ibrox. And at Parkhead.
Yeah, okay, Shyness.
Got you a move to Derry.
Exactly. Listen, on the downside of it all, they hit the post, but other than that, Kilmarnock, they've got Livingston, St Johnstone, Dundee United and Ross County. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how they can. They're my tip to go down.
Well, I said that when the split came. The team that's down there that gets the 3 home games is getting the advantage. Kilmarnock will get 3 home games. That's what they're pinning their hopes on now. That their home form is better than what it is away from home. So, but they still have to go out and win games. They have to start scoring goals and stop losing silly goals. But it's going to be really tight to the end. But when you could see everybody's face at Dundee United, they thought they were on a wee run, and now they're being halted. The pressure is just mounting week by week.
Yeah, this is the one I always say. The Sky cameras, when they start to focus in the last couple of games, and the wee boy or girl's just roaring and greeting when they know that their fate has been sealed. Dundee United did indeed think they were out of it. St Johnstone suddenly with that win, safe.
Yeah, I think so. I think a point between those bottom 3, I think it starts to get very anxious. It's a test of nerves now, as much as it is of anything else, going into the final 4 games. And Saturday's game at Tannadice is massive now. Dundee United take on Ross County. I think whoever loses that one, I think it's almost, that's it all over.
Yeah, St Johnstone, Stephen McLean happy that they've managed to stop that rot, and last couple of games looking slightly better for them.
It doesn't matter how they go in, but we've spoke about set plays and stuff as well. How can we get more goals from our defenders and midfielders? Everybody's got to try and chip in. So delighted for the big man, but delighted for the players as well. I think winning becomes a habit, and so does losing. So we've sort of broke that chain with the draw against Hibs and then the win now. But we've got to kick on now. It's 2 results, and there's improvement in this team, and I think everybody can see that they're getting there.
Yeah, good win for St Johnstone there. Of course, you've got to try and get into that winning habit to get you away from the danger area. Jim Goodwin still with an air of positivity about Dundee United's chances.
We're in a decent position still in terms of, if you consider where we were prior to the Hibs game. Only 4 games ago we were 5 points adrift at the bottom of the table. If I was sitting here now 5 points adrift, I'd be extremely concerned.
Yeah, we went down to 10 men. Any argument with Charlie going off? You were there, Ali.
No, I didn't think so. I think he's quite clearly the last man. And I think, just judging even by Jim's comments after the game, I don't think they'll appeal it. I think he knew He knows that they've got no chance of getting it overturned, but he'll be a big loss, I think, next weekend for them. You just miss his influence and leadership in that game against Ross County. But I thought Dundee United were probably quite unlucky. I have to say it was a really forgettable game. There was a typical game just at this point in the season where both teams don't want to lose it, really. But I thought Dundee United had actually started the better of the two teams, and Stephen Fletcher whacked the frame of the goal with a volley just in the sort of dying seconds of the game. And I think had they come away with a point, I think most of us would have felt as though it was a fairly fair reflection of it. But as it is, they're very firmly now back in that mire.
Yeah, the highlight for Tam and I in here in the studio was Ali's haircut, wasn't it? I mean, that was it, Tam.
It was like Cheryl Cole reincarnated. I thought she was going to break into song, Fight for Our Love, but no.
I would not have been able to name you a Cheryl Cole song. That's how sad his record.
I've got the album.
This is someone who's clearly never heard me sing.
No, it was great. That was the highlight. That was the highlight. Seeing Ali's new Barnet. But no, I think that I'm going to disagree. I thought it was quite a harsh red card. I thought
what?
Yeah, I thought he's got a lot to do to cut in. You know, he's going away for goal. I thought Dundee United were getting a player back. So I don't think, I agree with Ali. I feel like they'll lose it, but I think they might just throw a token appeal in.
Stonewaller, Ruffy.
I think he knew what he was doing.
I
think he was doing it because he thought, it's a yellow card. I'll take a yellow card. It's no any further out than. Well, Maeda was nearly
it's a good
in the box. It's a good bit out the box. He's got, and if you look at the inside, there are people. He'd have to have good control, and then
he was wider than Maeda.
The time he attacks the goal, there's got to be players back in there that are going to. So I don't think it's a stone wall.
He was wider than Maeda, but he was more clearly the last defender.
Yeah. Ross County came up with a big win, Ruffy. It was Alex Iakoviti and Alex Samuel. Do you remember Alex Samuel?
No, I don't, but he's been out for a wee while.
Yeah.
He's not nearly out for a whole year.
I think we had him in the studio when he was a Morton player and he sang a song.
Oh, was that him?
Do you not remember?
I remember the boy coming in, cocky then, I'll get you a song, what you want. And what was it he sang?
I can't remember, it was something. We had him on the show.
He did his guitar, he brought his guitar.
He's a right good looking blonde boy.
That's why I've never asked him on again.
Too
much talent. I remember him coming in and singing,
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, I felt delighted for him because when he scored the goal, he looked up to the heavens, as if to say, when you're out for that long and people forget about you and you feel as if you're taking a wage under false pretences, Tam. Great for the lad.
No, great for him. I was really impressed with Ross County. Seen the highlights today, watched the highlights, and Livingston were poor, but I thought Ross County played really well. The boy Danda, I thought he was outstanding. I think he set up the 2 goals. He was unlucky with a free kick. He looks a good player as well for Ross County, and they kept a clean sheet. But I think every team in that bottom 6 will be targeting Livingston. I think when you play against Livingston, you think they've down tools.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think. Now, I'm not saying they have down tools, but I think if you're an opposition player, you would think you can get 3 points against them. I don't think they're completely motivated at the minute. A lot of their players are out of contract.
Well, I think Malky was certainly praising them because the Ross County boss thought Livingston at least had a good strong side out there.
And I spoke to him about Livingston's reaction and having to come out really on the front foot because Livingston are a good team. David Martindale's a good manager and they've been unlucky not to get in the top 6 this year, and I think that the integrity showed in terms of actually putting his full strength team out the day showed that.
Alright, Ruffy,
do you think it was a red card for the Livingston boy?
Yeah, VAR were out.
Well, to be fair,
that could have been 3 red cards.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he hit him a right done, but a lot of defenders will say, Ruffy, that momentum of coming up there.
There was a clear.
We're having a bash at VAR. At least they got that one right.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, there are good points in VAR in that one.
I like the fact that Guthrie argued the point.
Do you think Livingston will appeal that one? Maybe Davey will send a grand in?
No, I think he's...
no chance.
No, but to be fair, I think what David Martindale wants is Livingston to show a bit of fight, not necessarily elbowing guys, but certainly a bit more fight overall from his team.
So we need to find our feet very, very quickly because we've got a really difficult game again. I think Kilmarnock got beat, Dundee United got beat. these are the next 3 games we've got. So you're playing against teams that are fighting relegation, fighting for their Premiership existence, and we have to match that desire that these players are going into these games with.
Yeah, I like the thoughts of Gary Connor, who says Livingston have never recovered from Adam Binney's visit to the...
They haven't. I think I was so shocked to see someone so bad at football.
Well,
they have turned into Adam.
To be fair, well, at least we got a win for them the week after, Ruffy.
Yeah, we did get a response. I think they won quite comfortably, but it's a sore one, but he'll be gutted, what's happening at his club.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Billy, who says Peter a right dunt. I don't know. That's what we used to say, Ruffy. A right dunt. Just give him one.
It was out of order. He actually knew what he was doing.
I thought it was poor. Cowardly that.
You?
Yes.
Okay, shut up. The 3, you're unbelievable. Okay, I've got to ask you this. What about? How did you feel you did in the predictor?
Oh. No, I don't. I think I had a poor weekend.
Yeah.
I think it's
the only reason he's bringing this up. The only reason he's bringing this up because he had 14 points.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did I have 14 points?
Yeah, you had 2 correct scores in the Rangers and the Celtic.
Well, that is absolutely amazing, Tam, because it must be. If I've got 14 points, it must be pretty close, Ruffy, for the.
No, you were adrift. Tam's my nearest challenger.
Yeah.
Have you got it up? Have you got it on the...
Well, we'll get it. But I was going to say to you, before we look at that, obviously, the table, Ruffy, who's going down for you as we look at the table, the Premiership table?
The predictions.
I know.
We're relegating people.
Ross County.
Sticking with Kilmarnock.
You're sticking with Kilmarnock. Ali, where are you going in this? I'm saying County are going to get out of it.
Can I be honest? I think it's a toss-up between all 3. I really do.
We know that. We know that, Ali. You're turning into Ruffy the closer you get to him. Is there any chance?
Did Ross County get 3 home games?
No.
The split?
No.
Ali was sticking her neck in the line then, was saying it was a toss-up between
Ali's
the 3 of them at the
explaining
bottom.
I'm going to go Ross County.
To go down? Right, okay.
And I think Kilmarnock to go into play.
I'm going to go Dundee United to go down.
What?
Yes, Dundee United to go down, yes.
And then who's the playoff for you?
Kilmarnock, and I think United will play them in the playoffs.
In the final.
Right, I'm going to go Kilmarnock to go down, Ross County in the playoff.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
No, I think the United will win.
Okay. Alrighty, it's interesting stuff, isn't it? Let's have a look at the predictor table to see exactly what's going on here, because clearly it's it's getting close now. Ruffy, you can be caught.
He's only 9 points ahead of me now.
Ruffy on 301, Tam's on 292, and 3 points behind Tam McManus is Peter Martin, and then, as she has been all season, last year's winner, mid-table mediocrity. Had this been a proper league, they'd have been calling for her head right now. Ali on 273, Tam Cowan on 264, and Hugh, who's gone an entire season predicting Rangers to draw
how's the soup down there, Shug, if you're watching?
200.
How's the soup down there, Shuggles?
230.
What minutes are behind? I've never seen what's minutes behind Tam.
72.
He needs 6 snookers, Ruffy.
I thought he was quite near him. We had a good weekend there.
No, he's gone. He's gone. We're about to declare so we can go for the meal before the end of the season.
Need a date now for Shuggles.
Yeah.
Get your wallet out with cobwebs and everything, flies and spiders crawling at it.
Taking us to Germany.
What, for a meal? That would be absolutely fantastic. There's rumours we wouldn't be returning for about a month. But anyway, this is getting close, Ali. You're happy because you just avoided paying anybody, didn't you?
I'm just relieved. I think we'll just leave it there.
Yeah,
she used that money she tucked away for her new banner.
To be fair, midway through the season, she was panicking that much. She asked her son to help her study the stats. I think we've got to get your thoughts, Ali, because you are going to be involved as a reporter with Patrick going out to the playoffs. Queen's Park. So close, but in the end, Dundee are the champions, and fair play to them for it. What a game it was!
Incredible game on Friday night. Incredible drama. I think Queen's Park have lost their way a bit in recent weeks. I've seen them 2 or 3 times over the course of the last month. I think defensively they look poor. I think they look soft at the back. I think too there's just a sense of losing a bit of belief that they had earlier in the campaign. I just wonder about Partick Thistle. I think there would have been a point where they would have looked down and out of it, and a stage in the campaign. I just wondered if they might sneak through.
Yeah, Thistle?
I think so.
Wow.
I think they'll definitely beat Queen's Park. I know
they lost 2 goals against Wraith Rovers there, but the best back 4 in the league, as far as I'm concerned. Lots of experience.
Yeah.
Banzo in the middle.
Dundee's got a better back
Crockery,
4.
no chance. Ashcroft and that boy, what's his name?
In the league doesn't lie.
I know, but
Ruffy.
no, I think their back 4 will persevere and get through there. I just can't believe there's none of them been nominated for the Championship Player of the Year.
Yeah.
It's the players that voted for it, Ruffy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. By the way, are you going?
Well, if you let me off, because tennis is a tennis night, Tuesday night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 7:45.
You're still allowed in it? Is it 7:45?
I know, the tennis finishes at 7:30.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Are you
for
still allowed in it for him?
Yes, I'm there.
They took the Alan Ruff suite away.
No, it's still there.
After you
my painting
slot on the fans.
Is your
I need
painting
to
gone?
find my painting.
Yeah.
I've taken my painting down. I don't know where it is. I'm going to bring it in here and we can pin it up.
Yeah, throw darts at it.
The darts have been thrown at it already.
It's like the picture of Dorian Gray, that photograph. Anyway, Thistle, Queen's Park, Ruffy, over the 2 legs. You taking them?
Yeah, I think they're coming good, at the right time.
Ali?
I'm going Thistle.
Yeah.
Yes, Thistle all day.
Yeah, I'm going to go Thistle as well. And then
Ayr United.
you still got something in the tank, you think, to go all the way? It's a long haul.
No, we've got
6 games,
11. We've not picked up any injuries. There's no... Harry Millen's been out for a wee while, but there are no other injuries to the major players, and I think that's what you need at this stage. Brian Graham, it'll be a lot for him to play the 6 games. He's put in a right good shift this year. So, no, I think they're looking strong just now.
Okay, good luck. We'll cover that through the week. Hopefully you can check out all our social media channels and you get managers and players' reaction right across the Scottish Premiership and beyond. Of course, we cover the games. Ali will be looking at the second leg of Queen's Park against Partick Thistle on Friday. First leg, Patrick Mullen will be there for us on Tuesday night. So there's lots to look forward to, as well as some great one-to-ones. Scott Brown, you've got the opportunity to look back this week of all weeks. It's the 40th anniversary of Aberdeen winning the Cup Winners' Cup. We've had one-to-ones with John McMaster, a wonderful player, and of course the fabulous Alex McLeish reflecting on the road to Gothenburg and defeating Real Madrid, which is well worthy of your consideration. Have a wee look at it. And we're not precious, Ruffy. I, for one, will definitely be having a look at the BBC's Gothenburg with a number of players just reflecting on it and talking about that great run in the game itself as well. I think that BBC documentary will be really good. I think it might come out on Thursday. Yeah.
Be good. Yeah, they're always a couple of weeks after us once we've done it.
He's such a moron, isn't he?
It will be
but I love him.
It will be good. It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be good because Fergie will be obviously giving his slant in it, and it's good to hear the players, talking about the things that happened revolving around that night, and I'm sure they'll all have something to say.
Yeah, well, listen, it was a golden era for football as far as domestically breaking the old firm stranglehold, and over and above that, Aberdeen and Dundee United getting to the latter stages of European competitions. Ali.
Yeah, I think you'll never see it replicated again. I think those days are gone, and I think clubs are quite right to celebrate them and mark them when it comes around, because I just think the financial gap between clubs and the resources has just moved so significantly.
Yeah, down south, talking of that, here's how the English Premier League results all panned out. Significant ones. Chelsea got a win, that's quite unusual. 3-1 against Bournemouth. Man City edged it 2-1 against Leeds United. Tottenham 1-0 Crystal Palace. Wolves maybe surprised everyone, defeating Aston Villa. Liverpool with Mo Salah scoring another record-breaking goal. Arsenal 2-0 winners over Newcastle United. That was a fabulous game, and I'm delighted for David Moyes. Might as well tell you, 1-0 over Manchester United, and I think that goes a long way to securing their safety in the English Premier League, Tam.
Yeah, they're safe. I think 37 points are on now. That should be plenty for them to stay up, and they can concentrate on winning the Europa Conference League. So I think if Davey can win that and keep them up, then he's had a fantastic season.
Well, not only that, Ruffy, if he wins that Conference League with them and keeps that West Ham side, and he hasn't spent a lot of money, if he can keep them in that English Premier League, he will etch himself in the history of West Ham. And if he leaves in the summer, I'd be gobsmacked.
Well,
needs money. He needs to buy
I think
players.
if he had a decision, he should leave. You know, if he had another good club to go to, because I've never had faith in the owners there. You know, I don't think they get right behind the manager, not just him. But so I think if another club came in for him, I think the best thing would be to move. I mean, they are a big club and a big stadium, but just don't like the owners.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, that's the most difficult part of life in the English Premier League, is trying to pick the club where the owners show any sense of stability whatsoever.
I think you could go beyond the Premier League and say that. I think when you look at the managerial turnover across the board, there's very little patience or time given. If you're in a sticky run of form, I think people want immediate results, and I think there's no tolerance really for going through tough patches.
Yeah, just before we go, this is a big week. Of course, we'll all be heading towards the Hilton on Sunday night for the PFA Scotland Player of the Year Awards. It's going to be a gala night. The players vote for the players, and we'll have the men's and the women's awards for Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and then there's obviously the Manager of the Year. I don't know why some people get so irate with us about it, because it's the people who've played the game who vote. And this one, I know you're not going to say it's the most prestigious because you're part of the Scottish Football Writers, and I have this argument year in, year out, but sometimes it's good to finish second, Ali, and be the second best awards ceremony. So, what? And by the way, remember, you're going there and you're getting you don't have to put your hand in your pocket, you're getting free drink, Ali. What a night it's going to be for you.
Oh, what would you like me to say then?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what you're going to say. Your hair will look as good on Sunday night, Ruffy, because we'll have a right good batter at it. It's going to be a great night. I'm sober because I'm hosting it.
No, but it's good. With you hosting it, it's good for us. It's a good laugh, good carry on. And you need the right people to win the awards, so you can rip them.
Yeah.
Still fancy Mark Kahara for Young Player of the Year?
No, he just went over the age threshold.
Yeah, by about 5 years. You're some banana, Ruffy. But it's going to be it's a night where I think you're trying to come up with arguments for players not getting it, managers not getting it. Everybody has their tuppence worth. I think the only great unknown is the 12 goals and the Sky's goal of the season. That's about it. And Van Veen's, for me, could have absolutely upstaged them all.
That could be the one for me. It was the skill level and that, and
I don't think it's allowed in now because they've already launched it.
Oh, is it? Well, no, listen, I'm sure it'll be a great night. Obviously I can't make it because I'm going to Murcia in the early hours of the morning. So I'll and
I'm giving everybody at our table a car.
That's fine.
It's a real blow.
That's fine. You managed to think about that.
If you want me to do the show live on the internet, I can do it during next week.
That's risky.
From the bar.
That's risky.
That's risky. That'll be a great night, and I think a lot of people will have their own ideas of who's player, young player, and of course Manager of the Year. Right throughout the divisions, though, Ali, it's good to see not only at the PFA, but at your own, the Scottish Football Writers, the lower leagues as well have to be recognised.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity just to showcase and celebrate the season, celebrate everyone's contribution, those that have stood out within their own leagues, and I always think it's a fair reflection of those who have really contributed a lot, that have really stood out.
Yeah, and of course the other thing about it, Ruffy, which is great, not only in the Scottish Football Writers but in our own awards ceremony for the PFA, is the fact that the players have knocked lumps at each other for the whole season. They want to chat with each other and have a laugh and get to break down barriers. We've got a right good table, by the way. Adam's coming out of retirement, so Charlie's going to be there with us again. It'll be magnificent.
Good. Yeah, I think that's a good part about that dinner is most of the teams turn up. Most of the teams take part. They all have a table and people, they can mingle and have a chat with each other away from the football side of it. And I really do hope every team turns up, particularly the guys who are nominated, the lower divisions. If their guys nominated, you would like to think they're getting a table, and let's just hope they don't go to 11 during the day.
Yeah,
a drink
and then
before they're done.
We've seen that, Ruffy, haven't we? Absolutely. Just before we go, the quiz. Here was the question: how many goals has Alfredo Morelos scored for Rangers in total?
I don't care. I just hope Alison's right.
I said 91. You said 83.
82.
Yeah,
83, and you said 158.
124.
Well done, Alison.
Well done, Ali.
Well done,
Ali, you were closest.
No, 91.
It's still a bit off. Is it 150 appearances or something, or 100?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's tomorrow's question.
Still off.
Ali was counting the bounce games as well. She's probably a bit.
124 goals. I think as time passes, people will look back on him with a bit more affection than the way he's leaving Alfredo Morelos.
Yeah, I think the European run, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was top notch. He was a handful for any of the teams that Rangers played all the way through that run. It's just unfortunate the way it's turned out, you know. I said to you a long time ago, Partick Thistle, you know, played them in a bounce game at Murray Park, and he looked quite a isolated figure. I mean, we've all been at football teams where there is a certain guy, doesn't he, mix with the rest of the guys. That's not a criticism, but it just didn't seem part of the deal.
Yeah.
You know, and a football club, you know, when a player's not, you know, he's leaving and he's not maintaining the form that he should, sometimes it's a bad influence in the dressing room, but only the Rangers players will know if he is that.
Yeah, okay. Don't forget to join us tomorrow on the programme. And of course, thanks to Gregor, who's worried about Charlie's welfare. He says, how's Charlie getting to the PFA Awards? But we'll pick him up in a taxi.
Yeah, I think
Charlie's team's doing well, isn't it? Burnley, are they up? Is Burnley up?
Yeah, absolutely. What a
Did you not see him the other day when they won the league? Didn't I? John Terry had the Burnley strip and all that, full strip on, and came out with the trophy and all that.
Can I just say,
he's a loans manager.
Phil March to Charlie. He's jumped on the right ship, by the way. They are on the up, and listen, one day Charlie Adam is going to be a manager, and let's hope he doesn't change his mobile number, Ruffy, as we're asking him all the tough questions. Congratulations to Dundee, who are the Championship champions. They'll be heading back to the Premiership next season, and congratulations to Ange Postecoglou's Celtic. They are the champions, back-to-back titles, and they've got the scent of the treble in their nostrils. Can Inverness stop them? All the chat coming up towards the Player of the Year awards on Sunday will continue this week, and we'd love for you to contribute as well. If you want to join the football family, it's unbiased, unmatched here on this channel, uncensored as well, and absolutely free to watch. Hopefully you can join us by hitting the subscribe button. From Tam, from Alison, from Ruffy, and from myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.